Welcome back to JB Reviews. Today we're going to be doing a video on what I hate about my 2023 GMC Sierra 3500 AT4. Let's get into it. Before we get started with the video, I do not own this truck anymore. I actually traded it in on a 2024 Chevy Silverado, but it's not because of the points in here, but these are just things that I figured I didn't like about the truck, and I actually got this footage before I traded it. I just forgot about it, so I wanted to go ahead and post it now. Let's get into the video. Now let's start up front. I absolutely hate the vertical tow hooks. Now obviously no one's actually going to use these really nice tow hooks, so in my opinion the only time I use these is when I stand on them to look inside the engine bay. So if you want to work on your truck or look inside the engine bay, this is always a good place to stand, and Rams has them horizontally, which makes it easy to step up in and check out inside the engine bay. This hood scoop is functional and it looks really cool on the front of this Sierra. However, when you're going on the road after you wash your truck, this thing retains so much water that when you drive off, it looks like a rainstorm is happening. And so then you leave all those water spots on the front of your truck, which means you have to wash it again. Matthew Anderson, you're the first person to mention that to me, and I've witnessed the same thing. Now you do get standard LED headlights with the GMC Sierra on all trim levels. However, these headlights are just okay. They're not the best. I've had way better. And quite honestly, they are bright, but they're just not wide. And sometimes when you're driving on dark roads at night, you want that wide visibility on the side of the road. And unfortunately, the fog lights are no better. They don't help at all. Independent front suspension on a HD. I'm not sure if that makes sense. I will say it does ride great, but if you're towing a conventional trailer, the front end does get pretty weak, so you're probably going to be better off using a weight distribution hitch with this truck. While we're down here, they do give you this fabric material for the wheel wells. I do like the overall appearance on it. However, it takes a lot longer to clean this, even if you're using a power washer, so sometimes plastic just makes more sense. Number 6 is this backup assist light on the mirrors. This is actually in the wrong spot. When you first get a Chevy or GMC, you're gonna have a hard time adjusting with this, because every time you look into your mirrors for the first time, you're gonna think there's a car in your blind spot. So I wish they would move this out the way, or at least move it on to the side here and just make this all mirror. Number 7, these back steps hold a lot of dirt. Even after you wash your truck a couple times, even with the power washer, this always happens. All this dirt comes out, even down here. So if you are washing your truck and you go to dry it, you're gonna scratch it. Number 8, these holes need to be bigger. Whenever I put my chains in here, I can never get my breakaway switch in there easily. So super hard. I wish they would update this, make it a little bit bigger so it's easier to get everything in together. Number 9, I hate the multi-pro tailgate. The reason why is because it does take away some of your functions. The one that I really wanted was the ability to put the tailgate back up inside the truck. Whenever I pull from under my pin box, my wife has to push the tailgate up. I'd rather be able to do that from inside the truck. 342 rear end? Yeah, the 10th thing I hate about this truck is this. I would like for them to give you an option for like a 373, because if you ever want to run taller tires, this is going to affect you. Number 11, I hate the weak windshield. I got like 3 or 4 different cracks within 6 months of owning this truck. I owned a Ram for 4 years, 40,000 miles, traveled cross country with it, no cracks in the windshield. Paint does scratch pretty easy on this truck, which is my 12th thing I hate about this truck. Now this might be a little nitpicky, but this is almost an $88,000 truck and they're still using plastic fenders. Now there is an option to get painted ones, but for an $88,000 truck, they should just come painted. Alrighty, so we've made it inside of the interior. So here's my 14th point here. I do not like all the hard plastic. Like this truck, again, $87,000. There's hard plastic noticeably everywhere. All right here, all right there, on the side here. Some of that is soft touch. Let's see. This might be soft touch. Yeah, this is soft touch. Hard plastic, hard plastic. All this in the center is hard plastic. Yeah, there's just a lot of hard plastic in this truck. Now, I only put this on the list because a lot of people complain about this. My 15th point is the seats are stiffer than the competition. Now, ask me a question. Do they get softer over time after about 15,000 miles? No, they're still stiff. So if you do not like stiff seats, you're gonna definitely hate this truck. My 16th point, there is no power steering column. Now, the only reason I bring this up is because the half tons have one. Ford has one, even on the lower trim levels than this AT4. So that's the only reason why I bring this up. I think that would be very helpful. I do like that it is tilt and telescoping, so that is a good benefit, but it needs to be power, especially for 2023. The 17th thing I hate about my GMC is the heads-up display. I don't necessarily hate it, but I wish there was more information, like the temperature, things like that. They only show you this, what you see here, which is the miles per hour, the speed, and the full drive system. Now you can change it right here, but there's not a lot of information for it. Oh boy, here we go. The 18th thing I hate about my GMC is there is no gauge summary. Ram has had one of these since like 2015, I believe, 16, somewhere in there. And Ford just included one. Now I'm going to take a little bit more time on this point because here's why that's important to me. Whenever you're towing a trailer, it's always good to be able to monitor the temperatures. Like, I watch this like a hawk, whether I'm unloaded or hooked up to my trailers. And even though they give you these gauges up here, and if you put it in tow haul mode, here, I'll show it to you, it changes the battery to the transmission. But I would like to have an actual number readout, because that's how you know when either something's a little bit higher than normal, because with these gauges, it always looks like it's in range of where it's supposed to be at. But I like to see the numbers, especially if I'm going up a grade. I would just prefer them to give you a number gauge summary for everything. Also, there's no turbo boost gauge, there's no exhaust brake gauge, none of that. Now, I know some of you guys were waiting for this point, and I made it the 20th point for a reason, because I didn't want to start off with this and I didn't want to end with it. But here it is, exhaust brake. This is the 20th thing I absolutely hate about this truck, and the question I ask is, would exhaust brake? Number 21, center console storage. Now, Ford and GM are about the same with this storage. I like the fact that they give you these USBs. However, this little guy costs $60. Now, unbeknownst to me, this thing could have been purchased off of Amazon for like half of that. But the problem is, this should have come standard with this truck. However, it does not. So I had to buy this after the fact. So I hate that GM doesn't give you enough storage, but I also hate that they did not include this in the build. Last thing I'll say too is, with Ram, they give you storage below this area and back here. So you have a lot more storage area, and it has a sliding console. It's just well thought out. I think GM needs to do some more work here. The 22nd thing I hate about this truck is the top storage. This is very, very useless. Like, it's all finished in hard plastic, and you can't put much of anything in here. And quite honestly, even if you have sunshades, they don't even give you storage above, so you have to put it right there, which is always exposed to the hot sun. So I wish they would make this storage a little bit bigger and useful. Alrighty, number 23, no panoramic sunroof. Now, I know this is not a big deal for some people, but when you live in Utah, you have these types of views, and it's always nice to be able to open up the majority of the roof and look up at the mountains. So I would like for them to add a panoramic sunroof soon. For 2024, still no panoramic sunroof. Number 25, the storage below the seat is lacking. Like, honestly, it's kind of pointless. Now, you can get an optional storage bin that's a little bit bigger, and I will say these are kind of helpful. I do put like some tools in here, but because it's finished in hard plastic, it will jiggle around in there and get annoying. So they just need more storage below the seat. Number 26, the Bose sound system. Now, there is speakers. I think there's like 9 speakers with this sound system. The only problem is, this is the upgrade. The Bose sound system is 9 speakers. My Ram had 19 speakers, and I believe Ford has like 18. So, come on, GM, get with the times. I know that the Denali Ultimate has like a 16 speaker, and that does sound good. But if this is the upgrade, you're definitely lacking behind the other two. Now let's jump back here. My 27th thing I hate about this truck is the rear seats do not recline. So I know that's not a big deal, but I do know when I have my mega cab, when my kids would sleep back here, especially because we travel and we tow our fifth wheel, we're in the car a long time, so it would be nice to give my kids more comfort, and that's something that they should add soon. My 28th point is I typically hear this thumping sound coming from the rear end, or it could be the transmission, one of the two. So it normally happens when you're reversing at low speeds, or if you're stopping and like going at low speeds. It's not like terrible, it's just like a very noticeable thump. You can kind of hear it, but you can feel it in the seat. And I've asked a few technicians about it. No one could give me a definitive answer. They just said it's probably just normal. So I just wish I could at least figure out what it is, because it is kind of annoying. Number 29. You see this, guys? I saved these for the last of it because I've never talked about it. I absolutely hate the waxed frames. Hate it. And the reason why is because you can see when they put the bumpers on that they scuff that stuff off. And so you're gonna have to repair it. You can see right there. See that? When they installed the bumpers, a lot of the coating came off. So they're the only ones using wax frames. No one else does that in this segment that I know of. I know Ram doesn't do it. I know that Ford doesn't do it. So I don't know why GM still uses these wax frames. So you are not supposed to really scrub these, right? But you see right there? Like, yeah, there's just noticeable rust, and I don't go off-road with this truck. I mean, that's just over time, it's just come off. And once it gets exposed to the elements, it just rusts over. Alrighty, so number 30. Ooh, I'm tired. I am not beating up on GM, by the way. I know a lot of people get offended in the comment section. I do this because I can, and I'm just being honest. And maybe this might help GM in the future. So this one is equally as important to me as the wax frames. I wish they would stop doing that, number one. But number two, when this truck goes into a regen, it absolutely sucks because you don't know. You only can smell the diesel inside the truck. So I hate emissions crap, which is why I'm getting so close to wanting to go to just gas trucks. So I don't know if this is my issue with this one, or is this just an issue with all GMs. Whenever this truck goes into regen, I only know because it smells like diesel inside the truck. That's the only time I know it's gonna go in regen. When we first moved here, I always took the back ways to get places. Now I only get on the highway because I do not want this truck to go in regen. So in order for you to know that it's in regen, there's really no way to know. You just can smell diesel. Now in the comment section, if you've had that same issue, let me know. I did take it into the dealer and asked them if they could just check things, but they were not able to find anything of why it smelled like diesel inside of the interior. So I am kind of happy that I do a lot of driving on the highway now, because if I didn't, I would probably be really happy to get rid of this truck. But if you are looking to buy a diesel, you have to get on the highway, guys. I'm telling you, you have to do it. All these trucks have this emission crap on it, and it's just gonna be a problem if you don't drive this truck enough on the highway. But I hope you guys liked the video. I did enjoy driving this truck, and I'm gonna do a video on what I love about it, so stay tuned. See you guys in the next video.